What we are now being told is that there is a neo middle class in India which is going to be different. Zorawar Kalra joining us on the broadcast. Zorawar, now the industry you're part of, the hospitality industry, one of the largest employers in this country. Obviously, there is a benefit when there are GST cuts across the board to both in terms of the purchases you make and the likelihood of consumer spending going up. But overall, how much of a boost do you see this festive season?
See, Indians love dining out. Indians spend more on dining out than any other form of entertainment. We're about 40 times larger than Bollywood. Also, Indians spend the highest percentage of their gross disposable income on restaurants or in ordering in than anything else. So that's definitely the primary form of entertainment. The beauty of a tax cut is that it is a gateway of converting a dream into a reality, aspirations into reality, and I think the middle class effect is going to be huge. By 2030, India will add 75 million middle income people. That's 5 years from now, and 25 million affluent households. Also, you have to understand that these households will drive around 2.7 trillion in incremental consumption. This is 2.7 trillion dollars. The beauty is that in our country, we are the only large economy where 63% of consumption is driven domestically. So any amount of slab reduction, any amount of more money in the hands of consumers will only result in one thing: hopefully funneling of all of that saving into consumption. That helps our industry. Like I told you, we're the number one form of entertainment. We also are the second largest employer of humans in India after agriculture, and we contribute between 2 and 3% of the country's GDP. So you're talking about 120 odd billion dollars out of a $4 trillion economy. So it's an important industry. And while we're very happy that some of our input costs will come down, such as ACs, such as desi ghee, such as parathas, such as a lot of food items, they are definitely nuts, fruits. A lot of things are going to reduce in slabs from 18 to 5, and from 12 to 5. That's very, very good. But one thing, and so I love the story. The story is great. I'm very happy. More money in the hands of consumer means it'll flow down, funnel down eventually to us. Because, like I said, the highest percentage of disposable income spend is on eating out or ordering in. But the problem still remains, despite being such an important industry. A, we don't have an industry status. Nobody recognizes us. We don't really have a voice to go to and speak about our woes, about our trials and tribulations. We're a very tough industry with razor thin margins and arguably the highest morbidity rate of any industry in the world. 9 out of 10 restaurants shut down within a year. And the biggest problem, despite this beautiful GST 2.0 reform, and I'm all for it, but it doesn't solve our problem. The problem of lack of input tax credit. We're still one of the very few industries that are not getting any ITC. So we pay the GST, but we never are able to recover it against what we pay. That creates a huge pressure on our margins. Literally, it's the difference between a restaurant that your favorite restaurant that you visited for the past decade. If you wanted to survive for another decade, we implore the government to give us ITC. All of these things are a good step in the right direction, and I would suggest to the powers that be that strike when the iron is hot.
Okay.
You already crossed more than halfway. Just give us the ITC so that we can actually survive. I mean, at the end of the day, it is the difference between survival or death.
Okay, so two
So
specific points that you need to absorb. Second largest employer in the country, contributing over $100 billion to India's GDP, requires industry status. I can see no reason why this doesn't now happen, maybe not in the next 2 months, but it needs to be seriously considered, and input tax credit. Those are the two main points that Zorawar is making. But Zorawar, on a practical point, now you run restaurant chains across price points. Okay, you run cloud kitchens from lower end to higher end. Are you sitting down with your teams or your product managers, your brand managers, your restaurant managers, and at least in the home deliveries and the cloud kitchens, looking at cost points, how much of this translates to cheaper things for people ordering from home?
yeah, definitely. See, for example, if we were getting ITC, we would immediately be passing on the cost benefits. However, we are not getting ITC. So the benefit of reduced prices to the consumer is going to be fairly limited, if at all. I don't think it's possible to kind of cover any savings that you may have, marginal savings that you may have as a result of this. By the best of calculations, we will only save between 0.5 to 1.5%. That's the only saving we're seeing with the current structure. With ITC, we can save a lot more. So the moment ITC is restored, this particular synopsis of yours, which is very logical and rational, you reduce the slabs, technically there should be reduced costs and reduce input costs for us. As a result, we should pass that on to the consumer. But any way you cut the math, you cannot save more than between half or 1.5%. So that's not even a saving for the consumer. So I would implore the government that because Indians love eating out and we are such a big important aspect of the Indian scenario, we be restored ITC. If that happens, I can guarantee you that the entire industry will come together. Cost of eating out and ordering in will come down sharply, and the extra money that people are now going to have as a result of more money in their hands will go a longer way. So my humble submission to the powers that be from the NRAI's perspective as well as the industry's perspective, and we represent about 5 lakh restaurants. We employ around 10 million people directly, another 10 million indirectly. If you restore ITC, the CAGR, the compounded annual growth rate of the industry, will rebound to 22%. It was 22% in July of 2017, came down to 11% today. For the unorganized sector,
Yes,
it's 8%.
and of course that equates to the larger hospitality industry as well, because